Good day, students. Welcome to this JSS 1 Basic Technology lesson on Introduction to Leatherwork. Nigeria has one of Africa's richest traditions of leatherwork, from the famous Kano leather industry, which has produced dyed leather goods for centuries and exported across the Sahara trade routes, to the leather artisans of Ibadan, Kaduna, and Onitsha. Leather shoes, belts, bags, wallets, saddles, and traditional regalia are all products of skilled leatherwork. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to define leatherwork and explain its importance in Nigeria, describe the types and sources of leather, identify common leatherwork tools, describe basic leatherwork processes, and state safety rules for leatherwork. Let us begin. What is leatherwork? Leatherwork is the craft of creating objects from animal skin, leather, through processes of tanning, cutting, shaping, stitching, and finishing. Importance of leatherwork in Nigeria. The Kano leatherwork industry is one of Nigeria's oldest craft industries. The ancient dye pits of Kano, the tanneries in Sabongari/Jokora, have operated for over 700 years, producing vegetable-dyed leather in red, yellow, green, and black. Kano leather is famous globally as Moroccan leather, exported via North Africa. Products include shoes, sandals, wallets, belts, bags, hats, traditional court dress, horse saddles and trappings, book covers. Economic importance: provides livelihoods for thousands of artisans, significant export earner, part of Nigeria's cultural heritage. Modern applications: fashion, ABA, Lagos shoe manufacturers, upholstery, car seats, furniture, safety equipment, gloves, aprons, boots for welders and lab workers. Sources of leather in Nigeria. Cowhide, cattle most common, thick and durable, from northern Nigerian cattle, Fulani cattle trade. Goatskin, soft, flexible, fine grain, used for gloves, book bindings, high-quality shoes. Kano goatskin is world-renowned for quality. Sheepskin, soft, suede-like, used for clothing, rugs. Snakeskin, crocodile skin, exotic, used for luxury fashion items. Leather processing. Rawhide tanning, preserving the skin to prevent decay, leather. Tanning methods: vegetable tanning, using tannins from tree bark, traditional, produces firm leather, used in Kano. Chrome tanning, using chromium salts, modern, faster, softer leather. Brain tanning, traditional, using animal brain, produces very soft leather. Leatherwork tools. Cutting tools: leather knife/skiving knife, sharp, angled blade for cutting and thinning/skiving leather edges, rotary cutter, wool cutter for straight long cuts, scissors, for thin leather, steel rule, straight edge guide. Punching tools: hole punch/drive punch, cylindrical punch hit with a mallet to punch clean holes, for belt holes, lace holes, rivets, stitching pricking iron, fork-like tool that marks evenly spaced holes for stitching. Stitching tools: harness needles, blunt-ended, large-eyed needles. Leatherwork needles do not need to be sharp as they go through punched holes. Waxed linen thread or synthetic thread, strong, wax-coated for durability. Forming tools: bone folder/creasing tool, smooth, bone or plastic tool for creasing fold lines and smoothing seams. Swivel knife, for carving decorative patterns into moistened leather. Joining/fastening, PVA leather glue/contact cement, for bonding leather before stitching. Rivets and rivet setter, metal fasteners for joining, press stud/snap fasteners. Striking tools: wooden mallet, used to strike punches, pricking irons, and stamps. Do not use a metal hammer on leatherwork tools, which would damage them. Cutting surface: marble slab or cutting mat, protects the bench surface and gives a hard base for clean cuts with a knife. Basic leatherwork operations. 1. Designing and pattern making: sketch the design, make a paper or cardboard template, pattern, to the correct dimensions. 2. Cutting, transfer pattern to leather, cut using a steel rule and leather knife, for straight lines, or scissors, for curves, always cut on a hard cutting surface. 3. Skiving, beveling, thinning the edges of leather pieces so they overlap neatly without creating a thick ridge, done with a skiving knife at a shallow angle. 4. Moistening, dampen vegetable tanned leather slightly with water before shaping, tooling, or forming. It becomes pliable and takes impressions. It hardens as it dries. 5. Tooling/carving, decorative patterns pressed or cut into dampened leather surface using stamps, swivel knife. 6. Edge finishing, edge beveler removes the sharp corners, edge slicker, rubbed with water or gum, burnishes edges smooth and shiny. 7. Stitching, punch stitch holes first, use 2 needles with 1 thread, saddle stitch, for very strong joints. 8. Finishing, polish with beeswax or leather conditioner, apply dye or paint if required, final buff. 3 examination questions. Question 1. State 5 types of leather products made in Kano and explain why Kano leatherwork is historically significant. Products: shoes, Baba Riga sandals and slippers, belts, wallets/purses, saddles and horse trappings, bags, traditional hats, fulla and other Hausa headwear, book covers, decorative items. Historical significance: Kano tanneries are over 700 years old. They were a key trade commodity along the trans-Saharan trade route, supplying leather goods to North Africa and beyond. The goatskin tanned in Kano became known internationally as Moroccan leather due to its export route through Morocco. It is part of Nigeria's UNESCO-recognized cultural heritage and provides employment for thousands of craftsmen. Question 2. Why is a wooden mallet used rather than a metal hammer in leatherwork? A wooden mallet is used because it distributes force evenly over a wider face, important when striking a hole punch or stamp to get a clean, even result. B. A metal hammer would damage the handles of leather tools. Punch handles and pricking iron handles are often wood or plastic. A metal hammer would split them. C. Or a mallet does not mark or dent leather surfaces if accidentally struck directly. D. It gives more controlled, lower speed striking force appropriate for leatherwork, unlike the harder impact of a metal hammer. Question 3. Explain the saddle stitch method and why it is stronger than machine stitching. Saddle stitch uses 2 needles on the same thread, one pass through each punched hole from opposite sides simultaneously, pulling tight. If any stitch breaks, the others hold because each stitch is individually locked. Machine stitching uses a loop stitch. The top thread loops around the bobbin thread. If one stitch breaks, the loop unravels and the seam can run, unstitching many adjacent stitches. Saddle-stitched leather goods, saddles, quality belts, traditional Kano leather, are traditionally more durable and long-lasting than machine-stitched items. 3 common mistakes. Mistake 1. Cutting leather without a proper straight-edge guide. A freehand leather cut with a knife produces a wavy, uneven edge that ruins the appearance of the finished product. Always use a steel rule as a guide for straight cuts, pressing it firmly against the leather surface. Mistake 2. Using too much water when moistening leather for tooling. Leather should be damp, surface moisture absorbed, not wet and soggy. Overwet leather loses its structure, does not hold tool impressions clearly, and may stretch out of shape. Apply water carefully with a sponge. Wait until the leather lightens slightly, surface dry but core still moist, before tooling. Mistake 3. Stitching leather without punching holes first. Never push a needle directly through unpunched leather. You will damage the needle and create irregular holes that weaken the leather at the seam. Always use a pricking iron and mallet to punch evenly spaced stitch holes before threading. Summary. Leatherwork, craft of making objects from animal skin. Nigeria's heritage, Kano tanneries, 700 plus years, goatskin world famous as Moroccan leather, trans-Saharan trade, products, shoes, bags, belts, saddles. Leather sources, cowhide, durable, goatskin, soft/fine, sheepskin. Tanning, vegetable, traditional, Kano, chrome, modern. Tools, leather knife, cutting, hole punch, holes, pricking iron, stitch holes, harness needle plus wax thread, stitching, wooden mallet, striking, bone folder, creasing, contact cement, bonding. Process, Design pattern cut skive moisten tool edge finish stitch polish. Saddle stitch, 2 needles, 1 thread, stronger than machine stitch. Safety, always cut away from the body, use a cutting mat, keep knives sharp, sharp knife equals controlled cut, blunt knife equals dangerous slip. For homework, A. List 5 leatherwork tools and their uses. B. Explain the difference between vegetable and chrome tanning. C. Name 5 leather products made in Nigeria. Attempt a quiz on your LMS. Nigeria's leatherwork tradition is a global treasure. Learn to continue it. Visit Litech Academy at academy.litech.com.ng. Until next time.